Welcome everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, time flies when we're having fun. Welcome everyone to the Village Board Work Session from October 17th, 2011. We need to take action on two items to start tonight, just because of the time-sensitive nature of them. I thought it would be most prudent to take care of them tonight as opposed to waiting another week. First of these is a bond amendment. Right now we're having continuing conversations with New York State's Environmental Facilities Corp. About using them to borrow money for the dirt pile removal as opposed to a privatized bank, because they can offer low-interest financing and a lot of other very positive things.
Very good.
One of the steps in this is an amendment to our resolution, basically saying that we are going to potentially be using the AFC and the amount and all that, just done with certain language that our bond counsel, Bob Smith, has advised us. So it's more just for form than anything else. It doesn't change any of the work that we're doing, but it helps us so we qualify for those EFC things that we're still working on. There's still not a guarantee that we're going to get the EFC funding. We have to work some things out on our current contract, but we do have a conference call on EFC Wednesday afternoon. All right, and then we have, I'm just gonna read the letter from Bob Smith, and then I'll ask for a motion. Dear Dave, pursuant to my recent discussions with Noah Nailston on Munisat Services, I have prepared the attached draft exact of minutes of the Board of Trustees meeting to be held on October 17, 2011, showing an adoption of the amending bond resolution authorizing the above zero bonds. Section 7 of bond resolution contains the form of notice to be published in the official village newspaper and posted in 6 locations throughout the village, and each village polling place within 10 days after adoption thereof. The draft affidavit of posting to be executed by the village clerk is also enclosed. A copy of the notice as posted should be attached to this affidavit. Please obtain and forward me a certified copy of the exact minutes, an executed affidavit of posting, and an original affidavit of publication. All right, I'll ask for a motion on this.
So moved.
A second?
Second.
Any discussion?
No, I get it all. Perfect.
I just want to make it clear that we're not changing any of the dollar
Yeah.
amounts.
Right, everything's,
This is just procedural requirements.
the total numbers and the work is not changing.
Yeah.
And hopefully we qualify and get a lower rate.
Yes, absolutely, that's what it's all about. All right, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Next, we have the bid award for a sewer trunk line replacement. We opened the bids last week. It was actually a good day because originally the estimates had come in a lot higher than the lowest bid was. So we went through the proper bid process and we were able to save some money. You know, there can always be unforeseen circumstances that requires change orders, so nothing is definite until the project is done. But right now, it looked like it came in substantially lower than we had originally anticipated. And again, just to remind everyone, this is the replacement of the sewer trunk line that goes into the sewer plant that's fed by those other 3 smaller plants, or pipes, sorry. I'll just read through this and then see if there's any discussion.
Like a month.
Whereas pursuant to resolution dated September 12, 2011, Village Board did authorize the solicitation of bids for that certain public works project known and designated as the sewer trunk line replacement, and whereas pursuant to the applicable provisions of law, the village did thereafter duly advertise for the submission of bids for said public works project, and whereas the village had received 9 bids for the sewer trunk line replacement project, and whereas the village engineer, MacDonald Engineering and Land Surveying, PC, has reviewed all bid packages submitted for compliance with the requirements of the bid specifications and has determined that the low bidder on the project is Proflex Incorporated with the bid amount of $257,710. Whereas Lankin Tully Engineering and Land Surveying, PC, has further completed the necessary and required reference checks for Proflex Incorporated and has advised the village board that it is their opinion that Proflex Incorporated is a responsible bidder and is equipped to perform the work outlined in the bid specifications for the sewer trunk line replacement project. Now therefore, it is hereby resolved that Profex Incorporated is the lowest responsible bidder regarding the Village of Goshen Sewer Trunk Line Replacement Project, and that accordingly, the project award is made to Profex Incorporated, and it is further resolved. The award of this bid to Profex Incorporated is specifically subject to and contingent upon compliance with all terms, provisions, conditions contained within the bid specifications, including but not limited to execution of the contract documents contained within the bid specifications and proceeding in accordance with the notice to proceed, which shall be executed and delivered to Profex Incorporated forthwith. I'll ask for a motion. And a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I guess I have the same question that all of us have, Art. I mean, it's amazing, these bids, 9 bids, and the difference, the size of it is just
$350,000
just kind of stunning.
It is. Well, it's supposition on my part, but
Sure.
we estimated the project to be approximately $300,000, and we have 4 bids in that range of $300,000. So I think those are responsible bids. I think at the high end, particularly the one that's up to almost $700,000, there's some people that, rather than spend a lot of time on a bid, if they've got a lot of work to do already, they'll throw a number in there, and if they get lucky, they get the bid and they make a fortune. So I think that's what happens at the high end. In the middle are people who take a conservative approach. They figure what's the worst that could happen, and they put a high estimate on it so that they have themselves covered under all events. So there's a number of reasons why there's such a big spread, but the thing that's I think important is to see that there are 4 bidders in that $300,000 range, which was encouraging for us to see. So I think that those are the 4 that actually want this job and have put in responsible bids.
The question that I have is when would they start, and how long will it take?
After the award, we're going to start, they have a couple of weeks to get through the contract, and then we would start immediately. What we're trying to do is get this done before the winter. So we're looking completion by, I would say, the holidays.
And how long did you think it would take?
A couple of weeks. We're looking at a 2 or 3 week project.
Once they start the work?
Yes.
After a couple of weeks.
Right.
And maybe 2 or 3 weeks to get started or to get the contract?
Right, and get mobilized, et cetera. And we're in a very sensitive time of year weather-wise.
Right.
So we just keep our fingers crossed that, we don't have a really winter or more rain, significantly more rain. But we want to try to get this done as soon as possible. It's all part of our desire to correct problems as we see them in the sewer system and be responsible for eliminating the I&I and the backups within the village.
Would it be, just so I know, any kind of brief interruption, is that all in service ultimately?
No,
They have to make the-
no.
It'll be easier to bypass trunk.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, there's a bypass system around the work area, so there shouldn't be any interruption.
So then when they make the final tap in.
Right.
transition.
Right. It should go unnoticed. Keep our fingers crossed.
Right. That's the theory.
Right.
Any further discussion or questions? It's something that the DEC and Attorney General's office is aware of, and they're in favor of this, so it's moving the ball down the field. All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Those are the 2 major things on the agenda tonight. It's kind of a light agenda, but I just thought because it's a light agenda, it'd be a good time to just have some brief conversations about budget stuff. Right now, we see a lot of the towns around us are completing their budgets, and we hear...
I came in just for this, so I won't stay for the vote.
Okay, no problem. You're welcome to.
Yeah, just want to see if you have any questions about the...
Okay. All right, thanks, Art.
All right.
We're reading the papers about various towns working on their budgets right now, because their budgets, of course... Reading right now, there's different towns that are working on their budgets. Their fiscal year starts on the calendar year, so now's the time they're doing it. Our budget doesn't start until June, but I thought, given the challenges that we're facing in the new tax cap, it would, it really shows that we need to start much sooner than we have in past years So I've done some work, Meg and Sarah have done some work, and we have some initial numbers, and it is going to be challenging to meet the tax cap, but I think because we can start working now, we can meet that challenge and be under the 2% tax cap when the time comes. Nothing's guaranteed, and some of it's going to be contingent on negotiations and certain things, but just to kind of give you guys some numbers, we got numbers from the state on the retirement increases through the state retirement system. That's going to go up 18%. So that alone from our state retirement and fire and police retirement is going to be an increase of around $100,000. Medical, we don't know definitively until after December, but according to Sarah, generally the increase is around 10%. Our medical cost this year was $1,055,000, so that's another $100,000. And our salaries under our current contracts that had 4% for last year, that would be an increase of around $96,000. So if these things go unchecked or unchanged, we're looking at an increase of $300,000 for next year's budget, which, if you think about roughly $40,000 as a percentage point, we're going to be dramatically exceeding that. So I think we need to start working now to find ways to chip down at that number and get it something more palatable. Hopefully, I'd like to see the increase of less than $80,000. That way we can meet that tax cap. One of the things I'd like to start the conversation tonight and get some feedback on is elected officials' health insurance. The way it's always been in the village, elected officials haven't been paying in any percentage for health insurance. I think that it's a time where those that do take it need to put in for some amount, whether it's 10, 15, 20, 25%, or more for that matter. I think we need to do further analysis, but I wanted to see if this board would be in favor of that in principle first. So I don't know if anyone has any questions on that, or...
Well, you and I, Kyle, we went off for that, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. You go first.
You and I went off for that seminar a couple weeks ago, we talked about in the car. I mean, I think it's gonna have to go out beyond just elected officials. I'm all on board for that component of it, but I think the time has come that a lot of people are gonna have to start pitching in something to their health insurance. It's been the corporate America trend for a long, long time. It's starting to become somewhat of the public sector trend, but you and I talked about doing some analysis, which we'll do in the coming weeks here. I think the time has come that everyone's gonna have to start pushing it.
Well, I agree. The way I look at it, if we start this now, and the board can show that we're gonna lead by example by taking, the first hit, then that kind of sets the tone.
Sure.
I wouldn't be comfortable asking an employee to contribute more without the elected officials contributing, first.
I agree with you 100%.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Just to quantify a little bit, right now, on an average year right now, our medical cost, as I said, is around $1 million, and it's going to go up around $100,000. Every employee pays 5% for just regular health insurance, not dental or vision, 5%. But if that number were to go up to 15% from 5%, that would save us roughly $100,000.
Does that include the police?
Yes, that's everyone.
Because I don't think, as much as I wish we could afford to pay full load for everyone, that's no longer the reality. And we did, in negotiations with the police and the DPW, institute a concept of a higher paid act several years ago. They negotiated it out over the years in their contract negotiations, but it would not be something that they're not aware of, realistically being around the corner. But beyond that, I have another question.
Sure.
I think it's a charming concept that the governor has set a 2% cap, and I should think that there would be a union, though I appreciate paring down wherever any municipality possibly can. There must be a union of villages, towns, and cities, at least on some peripheral level, trying to state if the state is increasing taxes an amount at 18%, how can they possibly be fishing it down to us to command that we only increase at 2%? If there is such a union, then I respectfully say that we should be part of it. It is so easy for higher levels of government to dictate to the lowest, to the ones who are providing the services, most directly to the people while they go on unparent. And I think that it is absolutely untenable that we not take some formal steps to say that, how dare you? You know, how dare you? How dare you increase? You don't have, it doesn't have to be open-ended. If you're increasing this 18%, how dare you demand that we stay at 2%? And I'd like to see where the state is bearing down.
Sure.
Well,
I've been watching very closely on, just one last thing, I've been watching very closely what's going on in, with the DEC and fracking, and such a absolutely volatile discussion. And it's perfect state. And they're coming to a conclusion, they have come up with an 800-page document that increases their position by $150 to monitor what they have established in their, you know. So I don't think it should go, I don't think that as village government, we should be afraid of taking a stand on that level and saying, how dare you.
Yeah, I'll go back to the question you asked us. It's regarding public officials, elected officials, basically in the village, right? So that's the five of us and the judge.
Correct.
I'm in favor.
I agree.
So it'll be, you know, we'll look at some numbers and see what the actual number is. Marcia, going back to your point, I agree with you. You know, I think if you're gonna have a state that's home rule, and I mean, this village, more than most around here, sees what the challenges that unfunded mandates, whether it's from the DEC or any state agency, can do. So in principle, I'm on board, and, you know, taking a stand, I'm with you. But I would say with this, although I might not agree about how the tax cap's being passed down, at the same time, I think that we have to, just because after last year's tough increase in sewer rates,
Mayor, don't misunderstand.
yeah, oh, no, I know that we're on the same page.
Yes.
But I just want to make it clear to those that might be watching that if we were to stand up and say, you know, we're frustrated with the state, we still agree with the concept of getting the taxes.
And we'll make moves
correct.
dramatically in that direction.
Right.
Yeah.
So, okay, so what I'll do is,
Just for my 2 cents, I concur as well, so I'm in favor of it.
okay.
No, Marcy, I'll tell you this from that seminar, which was, correct me, I think we felt the same way, quite eye-opening. And a lot of that discussion was around that.
I'll bet.
It's like, just to do this.
Yeah.
There was really zero carve-outs in this algebraic equation that they have for figuring out what the 2% actually is mind-boggling.
Yeah.
But the end of the
It's
day,
very complicated.
State basically said, we don't care.
Right.
Exactly, which is all the more reason we will be, with due diligence, do everything we possibly can, but they should not get away without getting snacks on it. It's untenable to me that they can make such good press when it is the most unrealistic thing I've ever heard of in my life.
It's a shift of the challenges.
It's a
away
shift
from the
of
state
blame.
onto the back
It's a shift of blame
right.
off the guy running for whatever he's running for, to put it on the people who are really doing the work.
Well, I appreciate everyone's support for that. I'll do some more work, and I'm sure Ed will want to be involved in that. And the next work session, hopefully we can have some more concrete numbers, because I'd like to have a resolution passed on this before Thanksgiving or before at least the New Year. One last thing that I wanted to just start the conversation with tonight, it goes down to budget and money. Something I think we need to take a long, hard look at on a village level is what we do with garbage, and whether we want to keep it where the municipality is in the garbage business, with us picking up the garbage and paying for the benefits for those involved, or if we want to look at maybe contracting with a private hauler. I don't know if that would save money, but I think it's worthwhile for us to look at the numbers, because our garbage pickup alone, when we look at the tipping fees, repairs, wages, salary, benefits, to the whole garbage operation, we're close to $300,000 right there. I don't know if privatizing and contracting with a private hauler would save a lot of money, but I think it's something that we really need to look at and be creative at this point. But before doing any hard looking, I wanted to get some ideas from the board. So, do it deep in thought, Marcia. And I know it was done previously by the village,
Mhm.
and then switching to municipal done saved money at the time. I just don't know if the way retirement system and healthcare are going, if the changes swung back.
Things change, it's
Yeah.
always worth revisiting to make sure that we're doing the most beneficial, financially beneficial. I'm never opposed to relooking at things.
Well, as much,
However, we did save a lot of money, so we should take,
Sure.
do a comparison all the way back.
as much as I love having my garbage picked up twice a week, I think there's other alternatives that we could explore as well, and maybe just take a look at maybe cutting back on the service versus giving it away to somebody else or something like that, as an alternative.
Sure.
I mean,
I'm with you.
I know I could get by with garbage once a week. It's a nice convenience
Right.
to have it twice a week, but, the average person, I think they can maintain their garbage, and most places only pick them up once a week. I mean, my restaurant, they only pick it up once a week, so.
And one of the great benefits, which I'm sure we'll evaluate when we go through all this, was the control that you had over increases. And it should seriously be looked at, because once you abrogate that control, you really are putting yourself in a different place. So I think I'm totally with you that it has to be evaluated as to cutting back, in that evaluation as well.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I can say also, and this point that Meg brought up to me today, the majority of our workers' comp cases that have come up have been from garbage truck stuff, because it is challenging work for employees, and, it's long days, especially in the winter. That alone isn't a reason to get out of that business, but I really think we need to look at the numbers and see if it would just save a substantial amount of money. I mean, and there are benefits of us having the control not only on the rate increases, but also just on the whole service. For example, after Irene, based on the DPW crews doing one thing one day, we diverted garbage pickup to the following day, which caused some confusion, but the fact that we had that ability is a nice thing. The fact that we, give a quality service, and we know that garbage cans aren't getting thrown around like you hear about in other municipalities and all that.
I worked in Washingtonville. I watched that garbage laid there. It was breeding very, very, very difficult situation.
Right.
Because it's municipal.
Right.
I'm not municipal.
Private, right.
And they had to wait till everybody was done. It was horrible. It was horrible.
So I don't know if there's any more discussion, but if people are in favor of us investigating that. Okay.
Include that level.
Oh, we'll look at everything. Look at everything. I'm not saying that it would be a good thing to go private, but I'm saying it might be, so we should investigate.
Everything is worth looking at. I mean, from what you're saying, it appears that when we went the other way before, we saved money doing that. So I don't know whether we'll save money, but I'm certainly got an open mind about whatever would be proposed. We're going to face, the mayor laid it out in your presentation last year when we were talking about budget, the fact that this past year it was like 7% of absolute fixed costs that are mandated with, union contracts with our union employees and retirement and workers' comp and insurance and all of that. It's going to be very difficult.
And the challenge that we need to be cognizant of throughout this discussion is, if we're able to do the things I hope we can do and get that increase down below the cap, next year we're going to have the same challenges with the same retirement cost increases, medical increases. So, I think if making one-time cuts, buying one less police car one year and things like that, they help it that year. But I think things that we can do to cause a shift long-term, is what we really need to look for.
Well, obviously, you've already looked at it, Mayor, and seen that it seems like it's not without the realm of possibility that we could do it next year. But those costs that we have no control over are going to keep going up at 18% and 10% a year. It's going to get more and more difficult every year.
Right. And it's beginning to be, it's not a sustainable model, the way things currently are. And that's something that it's not unique to Goshen. It's all villages, all towns. Counties have other state mandates that we don't have, and even they're struggling. So it's just something to be cognizant of. So what I would ask is all members of the board, work with your departments that we're liaisons to try to come up with ways, meet with department heads to try to find out ways in budgets that we can make changes. And it might require some out-of-the-box thinking, but a few smart ideas at the right time could be able to get us where we need to be.
I think if you put a number of factors in there too, just what we just discussed, the garbage thing, to see if there's some kind of potential cost savings there, but also, you have to, hopefully we'll get engulfed in this grant writing and potentially see something there that might offset some of our expenditures or things that we have to expend. And, you know, to look at ways of just being more conservative and cost saving in certain aspects.
Absolutely.
Which brings me back in closing, my last commentary is that one can go through a bad year and have to, make severe cuts and not buy, and I'm reiterating what Alice just said. You could do it for a year. You could do it for 2 years. But beyond that, you have to be able to maintain the municipality. And at 2%, I reiterate, that's an impossible thing to be able to, and meet the mandates of the state.
Well, I think, a lot of the problems that we're dealing with now are from predecessors, while well-intentioned, doing just that. When sewer pipes haven't been replaced in so long and things like that, it's indicative of exactly what you talked about. At a certain point, we can't avoid doing certain things. So.
And the state has to. Not only should the state appreciate that, they absolutely do. And therefore, I find it difficult to keep quiet.
Right. So, all right, well, that was all I have for tonight. I'll do some research, work with some people on those 2 items, and report back. Does anyone else have anything?
I just wanted to say that Jim came in and we had a meeting with Sarah we wanted to make sure that we were within budget on the CRD well, and that the additional costs, we had framed it very well, and we are still within budget. Getting ready for the next step, it relies on the finalization of the plan from the county. We had a lovely cushion built in there that would have kept us very comfortable, except that we had to redesign again for the county's change in their design. And we'll be having a meeting in November where we will bring the entire board up to snuff on exactly where we are, and hopefully have a final designation from approval from the DEC at that point, and the final design from the county.
Very good. I'm looking forward to that presentation.
Lisa?
All right, does anyone else have anything they'd like to discuss tonight? All right, with that,
Oh, one more thing.
yes.
Halloween. We have a curfew on Halloween?
Yes.
And we have a board meeting on Halloween?
No,
No.
it's the 5th Monday.
Oh, thank goodness.
So, you can still go trick-or-treating.
I just wanted to make sure. Very good. I hate.
14 years on this board.
I still show up on the good Monday. What can I tell you? I'm patterned.
You love your job.
That's it, obviously.
All right, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
That's lovely.
Second? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
All right, thanks, everybody.
I never think about this Monday. No, one night I called up there. I called up there and said, are we at the senior center? What the hell?
If I
Mark?
quote it correctly, there's like 5 of everything in the month of